Guys, this is going to happen at some point, whether it's before, during, or after school, but you're going to wonder to yourself, am I ever going to make it as a PA?
Yes. We're going to get you there.
60% sure you will. I'm just kidding.
Am I going to make it as a PA?
Yes.
I've asked myself that.
You're going to.
You are. Let's start there. You will make it.
No, I was talking about you.
I've made it. I hope.
I
haven't been fired yet. So,
no, everybody has that question. I actually saw this question on Reddit, which if you're not on Reddit, I have no affiliation with Reddit other than it's just a community of usually very good people and good questions. It's very supportive. So this question was, I did some shadowing in the OR and I was so overwhelmed with everything I saw. How will I ever learn enough to be a good PA? I just don't think my brain is capable of knowing all of that information.
Yeah, and I remember thinking that as a new PA, but also in school, there's certain subjects that are harder for me than other things. I've always been a fairly good student, but there's times where I'm like, man, this is hard.
Right.
And I haven't been challenged like this, and am I gonna make it through this?
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing at times, I think, to get through just mentally. But the answer is, yeah, we know that knowledge you learn in school it's a lot in a condensed amount of time.
And honestly, you feel like you're faking it. You feel like an imposter. I remember going in for like a neurology exam and I was like, I don't get it at all. You feel like you're totally faking it. You think, I can't even remember this stuff. How am I ever going to be confident in my skills to take care of an actual patient?
Yeah. And I think it's important to focus on the moment in school, specifically in school. Okay, we're talking about neurology. So I'm focusing on neurology.
Right.
And I'm going to get through this and I'm going to pass the test so I can move on to the next thing. You need to remember it for your pants and stuff, but if you can just focus here and now, okay, then I can put it kind of on the back burner, and you actually will be surprised how much of that you kind of retain. I mean, we still talk about things randomly, and it's like, pull this out of your back pocket. Oh, yeah, that's still there somewhere.
That's right. Well, they have tinea versicolor because that's a Herald patch, and then I'm like, how did I know that?
And it's just like things like that you would think that you will forget completely, and you will. You're going to forget stuff, and that's fine. But focus on one thing at a time in terms of school. I mean, I know there's multiple topics being taught, but if you can just focus on the here and now, okay, I got it. Mm-hmm. Then I can move on to the next thing. Okay, I got it. And just one thing at a time and not sit back and go, look at all of it.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that is too much for anyone to kind of try to learn all at once.
I remember even in college in physiology, they would kind of glaze over something and I was like, but I want to know what that is. What is that? And I would spend 4 hours looking for the answer to that, not understanding anything I read. You don't have to understand how it all fits together yet.
Yep.
That comes with time, which is actually shocking when it happens because I remember working. I mean, I had been a PA in CT surgery for several years. Somebody asked me a question and I was like, it's probably because this is related to this and that affects that. So yeah, that's probably why that happens. And I was right. And I was like, dang, there was some stuff that's stuck in there.
Ding.
Yeah.
Is that light still above your
No,
head?
I moved it, but
literal light.
My light bulbs went on. They're getting dim. I'll tell you that. They're getting kind of dim. One thing to remember is that school is not designed to be all-encompassing. You are not going to learn everything in school. You're going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of information, but it's providing the foundation. So I kind of tell people when they say, how does med school work or how does PA school work? So you kind of have to learn how the body works, and then you have to learn how it can go wrong. So you're not going to cover everything. But the best advice I ever got in school was from a family friend who, she was a pediatrician, her husband was a nephrologist. Because I was struggling at the time with some tests. And I said, what do I do? Like, how do I do this? And she goes, here's the thing. You don't have to know all the answers. You got to pass your tests. I get it. But you don't have to have all the answers. You got to know how to look it up. And I was like, oh, that's a really good, and that has totally come true. I've literally looked at a path report and read some sort of fungal infection. We deal with aspergillosis and stuff like that. And I don't remember what this specific thing was, but I Googled it and I read about like, oh, it's normally in this place and this place. And so I went in and I knew enough to kind of get through the situation. So, so just remember that school is a good foundation, and it teaches you how to look things up. It teaches you how to start to piece things together. But I would argue that the bulk of the knowledge or stuff that you see during rotations or in your shadowing experiences comes from actual clinical experience.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before. The PA profession was kind of created on these people that had some experience already. So let's teach you a little bit more and then use that experience. But at the same time, once you get into the field, okay, the way that I'm going to become a good PA is by actively practicing medicine.
Right.
You know, I remember my first day several months as a CT surgery PA. I did it straight out of school. And some people would argue, oh, it's not for me. And that's fine too.
Right.
You need to know kind of yourself and how much you want to take on maybe on your first job. And not that it's harder or anything, but it is a bigger learning curve. Anyways, I remember that first few months just being overwhelmed.
Right.
This is just so much information. I'm learning surgical skills, which I kind of learned in school, but it's a lot more in depth. I'm learning how to harvest vein, which I've seen but never ever done. Definitely didn't learn it in school. Then I'm trying to learn the knowledge that I learned in school on how to round on patients, do clinic, things like that, okay, I should know this, but it's still, now I'm actually having to learn how to use that knowledge. You put it all together and it was like, wow, this is a lot. So, okay, let's focus on one thing at a time.
Right.
Okay, we're going to focus on the OR. All right, I'm going to master that. Then I'm going to focus on this other thing and break it down more simplistic. But that experience over the first several months to first year or so is really what will allow you to become a great PA, in my opinion. The school is one thing, but then on the job experience or rotations is where you really gain that confidence and that knowledge to be a good PA.
So rotations are a great kind of introduction or a bridge, but you know, your first 6 to 12 months working as a PA is huge. Learning how to round, you know, yes, you know what a soap note is.
Yeah.
What does it look like? Like, what is that actively like when you're out on the floor? So that the people that show up on day one of their job and they're like, I graduated, I'm here, baby, let's go eat some donuts.
I have arrived.
Yeah, I've arrived. Like, let's kick back and be professionals together.
Yeah.
Not good, because you have to keep pushing ahead. If you're in family medicine, there's a ton more of family medicine that you need to figure out how to do. If you're in a specialty, my goodness, you have to dig deep in those specialties.
Yeah.
With things like, in our world, it was surgical skills or decision making. I always tell people good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment.
Yeah.
So you'll do something wrong in surgery. You'll prescribe the wrong medication. You'll miss something that you didn't know was important, and you'll find out. And then that's called experience, and it sucks. It totally sucks. You feel terrible about it. Hopefully, obviously, it's nothing, serious, but it's, just the shame of like, oh, I missed that. I didn't even recognize that's a huge problem is embarrassing. But then that's your experience. So guess what? The next time that comes up again, you're going to be like, wait a minute, I got tricked by this once. Yeah. I'm not going to do that again. And those things are like exponential the longer you've been working. So the first 6 months, you'll have a little bit. Next 6 months, you'll have a lot more. And as you get more and more independent, now it's just every day there's something that comes up that I'm like, good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I think the important part is to be humble about it, right?
That's huge, right? So showing up and thinking that you've got everything figured out, or actually what I see more often is people that don't want to admit that they didn't know it. So they kind of fake that they knew it, or, you did not do this, but other people
Probably
that
did.
No, I don't think you did, but if a lot of times I would point things out, and we've talked about this in another video. I will link it up here. Things not to do in your rotations, but people are like, yeah, I know. Yeah. But you did it. So that makes me think you didn't know. Yeah. And people are so worried about their impression or their reputation that they will fake something. And that's not helpful. You're not going to learn from that. So don't be so arrogant to think I knew that, or you're wrong and I'm right. Look it up, file it in the memory bank. But the best thing you can do is remain teachable and just be humble when somebody points something out or if you miss something.
I learned real quick as a PA, and that you don't know everything. Your job is to go in and do a history and physical and find out the information. And then we, in our world, we do a lot of times tell them this is probably the plan, going forward. But they'll say, I have a question. And you're like, great. Yeah, I probably have the answer. And if not, I'll make sure I find it out for you. And I kind of almost put that up front. Like, if I don't know, I'll make sure to tell you, you know what, I don't really know, but I will go find out, and I'll bring that answer back to you, or at least Dr. So-and-so will be in here to talk to you about it later, to almost like give myself a little wiggle room here. Like, okay, if I get asked something, I don't have to make it up. I can say, you know what? Sorry, typically, it may be this, or this, but it's a really good question. And I'll go talk to the doctor, or maybe it's a different specialty, the kidney doctor, and get back to you on that. I don't have to have the answer for everything.
I think, out of respect to the patient, it's not a weakness to say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that question. Thank you for asking. And like Garner said, take ownership of that and say, you know what, I'm going to find out and I'll be back. And then be sure to do it. Don't get caught up and get busy. Circle back. So yes, it's going to take a little bit of extra time, but I think patients appreciate that. I think they always respect you more if you're just transparent with them. But if you come in and you're vague and you're kind of, that's just something that
they pick up on it, and then they lose trust in you, and they lose trust in your ability to take care of them.
Yeah. So. Actually, that happened to us. My wife had a blood clot that went to her lung. So it's called a pulmonary embolus. And I was in school at the time, but I had sort of learned about it, but not really. I had never seen it before. I didn't really understand the ins and outs of it. And one of the hospitalists, the internal medicine doctors, came in and said, we're going to do an echocardiogram today. He was not very personable. I'm just going to put that out there. Very socially awkward. He's like, yeah, we're going to do an echocardiogram today. And she said, well, what's that for? And he said, to see if you have a hole in your heart. And she goes, well, what is that going to tell me? And he goes, to see if you're going to have a stroke. And she goes, am I going to have a stroke? And he goes, probably not. Whoa, buddy. Like, that's a big deal. What I think he should have said, because after he left, of course, my wife freaks out and I freak out because I was like, what is he even talking about? Like, hold up. So what he needed to say was, listen, statistically speaking, probably, I don't think you have a hole in your heart. If you do, we'll take care of it, but we need to get this test to find out. And then here's why it's significant. Here's why it would matter if you had a hole in the heart. Yeah. A clot could break off and travel through that, rather than go to your lungs, and, just give a little context. Yeah. And if he didn't know, let's say it's a student that came in, all the student knew was, we're going to do an echo. We're going to do an echo to look at your heart. Well, what is that going to tell us? You know what? I just know that the echo's ordered. Let me go find out for you. I'll be right back. And I would have been like, sweet, do it. Thank you.
I think to wrap everything up, because even in this conversation, even when we just talked about a PFO, a hole in your heart, an echo, a PE, all that. If you guys are new students or even new patients, you were like, these guys, they're acting like this is going to be easy. But the whole point of this is like, am I going to be able to do it? And Chris and I have been doing this for years, and in one specific specialty, but we've been doing it for long enough that we're comfortable, and you too will get there. That's what I guess what we want to hammer home is, yes, you will be able to do it. It's just going to take some time, and you're not going to be comfortable right off the bat. In school, you're not going to be comfortable on rotations. You're not going to be comfortable as a practicing PA, even though you passed the pants and you got certified and you got a license. That doesn't mean that you know everything, but you will get there. You will. It's just going to take some time, some humility, hard work, but put your head down, focus on the moment, one thing at a time, and you will be able to do it. It can be a lot. And I remember feeling that way when I was in y'all's shoes. So
yeah. Shadowing, pre-PA school, you're like, I don't even know what the basic stuff you're talking about is. And then in school, you're like, I sort of understand. I don't know how it applies. So yeah, it comes with time. It's all good. You will get there, and don't let that discourage you from pursuing your career as a PA. Because it's context. It's just volume of information and time spent. So Don't forget to like and subscribe to the PA Startup channel. Again, we thank you for coming by. Thank you for watching us. Don't forget to head over to our website. We've got a contact box. If you got a question for us, leave a comment below, or head over to our website and just send us an email and just say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. What do you guys think? I'd be happy to get back to you.
And don't forget, if you guys are listening on wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, and you want to see the video version, it's on YouTube or vice versa. If you're seeing some of our clips and you don't like watching the full necessarily podcast video itself, check it out on your podcast and listen to it while driving to school. We appreciate it. So thanks again, guys.
All right. We'll see you. Good luck.